Hey, what's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we are talking all things military with Eirin Quink and Leo Castillo from Camp Roberts, MWR program, right?
Hey, Randy.
Right?
How you doing?
MWR.
Back again.
Yeah, right? Tell us what the MWR stands for.
Morale, Welfare, and Recreation.
Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. So we got two different parts of the military here. We got yourself, which you are kind of spearheading and running the MWR at Camp Roberts.
Yes.
And then we have Leo, which is a veteran retired soldier. And now you're back with the program,
right,
with Camp Roberts after 22 years of service. And I want to say thank you for your service.
Thank
and,
you.
For doing what you did to give us the freedom that we have today, man.
Appreciate that. Thank
So, yeah, we're going to learn all about what's happening over there and what's happened since the last time that you were here. The last time you were here, we talked about the Buzz Marathon.
Yes.
How was that?
Highly successful, and I've got to say mainly due to all the community support and sponsorship that we had. It made it a great event.
That's awesome. And did you have people qualify for the Boston Marathon?
We did not. We had one actually, my counterpart at Fort Hunter Liggett, the director of MWR out there, was our top finisher, and he missed the cutoff by 5 minutes.
Huh.
Yeah.
So how many people did you guys have participate?
We had about 95.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
a great event.
That is a big event.
Yeah, we're looking forward to doing it again in February 26th.
Leo, did you do it?
No, I used to run marathons. I've had 2 back surgeries since due to a accident in the military, so I don't run marathons anymore. I run 5Ks, that's it.
Got it.
He was, however, a huge supporter
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
helped us with a lot of the community relationships and sponsorships,
Very cool.
as did you and 805 Customs.
Yeah, no, I was glad to help, and I was glad that, so many people said, yeah, no problem, and so, at the end of the day, it's, we've learned, over the course of the last 2 episodes of what MWR is and the need for it, for our soldiers, which, a lot of us civilians that don't have an inside look to what's really happening think, oh, military guys, they get taken care of, they get, all their needs, given, and it's really not the case, right?
No, not really.
I mean, we talked about, during the holidays, to where even down to like a Christmas tree,
Yeah.
Not even be able to afford, a Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, a lot of soldiers live at poverty line, really.
Yeah, and you have to remember that, a lot of the younger soldiers coming in do have young families as well, so they're not only taxed with their own individual expenses, but their families, their wives or husbands and children. And if there's not anything available for them to purchase, such as a Christmas tree, if they can't purchase that because they can't make that cut, especially if they're being stationed somewhere like California, where the cost of living is so high. And
Astronomical.
even though they're given an allocation for housing, it's still not enough to go out and buy a home. Rent, sure, but then where are you able to rent? So it all comes down to what that looks like.
What, Leo, let me ask you a question. Obviously, you've been the soldier. You've been in the shoes. You've been in the shoes 22 years, struggling, at the beginning to make it, you made it a profession. You made it your career. Did you, what the soldiers are going through today, was it different? Because you went in what now, about 25?
1999.
Okay. So was the struggles the same now as it was back then, or was it different?
I think there's still similar struggles. There's different struggles now. I think a lot of societal changes have kind of created those struggles too. When you look at, when I joined, it was 1999. I wanted to serve. I wanted to get away from my home. I wanted to go be on my own. I joined when I was 17. I wanted to be an adult, pave my own way. My paycheck was $400 every 2 weeks, and for a private who lives in the barracks, still doesn't seem like enough. You're being provided a home, barracks, you're being provided food, chow hall. However, all those extra costs, like I couldn't afford a car. I had to take a loan out, and then even then, you live in near a base, you're gonna get robbed by those dealerships because they know you have a steady paycheck.
Right.
So there's that kind of struggle when it comes to being in those days. These days, I feel like what I saw on my way out was that troops were definitely more inclined to join the military, not just so much for patriotism, but more so for college benefits, which is fair. You know, I think that we all deserve college benefits for serving your country. But that was it. You know, that they didn't want to push any further. A lot of soldiers these days too, it's that question of why? Why do I have to do that, boss? Whereas when I joined, it's like, yes, Sergeant, whatever you say. You know. So the dynamic has changed a bit. I hate to say it, but there is a little bit more of entitlement coming in. You know, they feel like they can ask for more or feel like they're entitled to more, but it's not necessarily the case. So the culture has changed a bit. In some ways good, in some ways bad, and it just all depends on the leaders and who's running that unit or that platoon or that squad. It can make or break a team.
Do you think there's a lot more need or allowance for, you know, being mediocre nowadays
Yes.
than there was back then?
Yes.
Due to society?
Yeah, the standards have changed. When I was in, the standards got dropped probably about 10 years into my career, where you only needed to make 65% when it comes to the physical fitness test. So standards were dropped. And then now I know we're going back to having one specific standard specifically for combat MOSs. But I do feel like people are just kind of getting by. I was a recruiter as well, so, you know, a lot of times, a lot of recruiters would push the numbers, just get a body in there, get a body in there. But at the same time, my biggest thing was I'd rather put in a quality person that's going to be successful, not just physically, but also mentally, than someone who's going to probably get out in 3 years because they couldn't handle it, or be dishonorably discharged because they couldn't shake their civilian life to become a military person, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. It makes a lot of sense. Now, Eirin, do you think that plays into the MWR and the reason why it's at where it's at today, as far as like the kids that are coming in that are joining the military are maybe not mentally, physically ready or capable, and so they get here, they have nobody, they've been you know, reassigned, you know, states away, and they have no social life. I mean, really nowadays, kids have no social life.
Yeah.
It's all gaming. It's all on their phone.
I mean, obviously our mission is to support the soldiers while they're away from the family, while they're under stress, while they're training. I think we've seen some significant drops in numbers because you do have those soldiers who really aren't as social anymore, because, I mean, your life is on your phone, right? Or like you said, the gamers. But we still provide the opportunity for gaming and for socialization, or just a place to kind of decompress. I mean, it's not just entertainment. We have gyms. MWR is more of a global organization. I mean, it's so big, to having hotels, swimming pools, events, concert tickets. We're not set up at this point to do that, but
you have a vision for it, to be more of a destination out there
100%.
at Camp Roberts.
Yes.
To put on events, to I mean, you guys have, you know, the amphitheater, you know, out there for concerts.
Soldiers Bowl.
You have, I mean, tell us more. You have a bar out there.
We do have a bar out there. I mean, we really are kind of an untapped resource. We're kind of a hidden gem. You know, I know that the cost for event spaces, particularly in our area, is astronomical, and Camp Roberts is a place that could accommodate for a more reasonable of a price. But yes, right now, actually, our big...
Well, so Eirin, stay right there. So on for the events, like what size events are you talking about? Are you talking about, you know, a couple of 25, 50 people? Are you talking about a couple hundred? What, as far as the capability and the space that you have for people that are like civilians like us to rent versus spending thousands and thousands of dollars at these wineries and stuff?
Actually, we have quite a range. I mean, we could do the intimate events of, you know, 20, 50, 100 people. We could easily accommodate on our athletic field thousands of people. I I mean, Buzz, as I said, we saw about 100, but we could definitely accommodate some of those bigger events for sure. So Soldiers Bowl, what? A couple hundred.
Soldiers Bowl, yeah,
Definitely.
a few hundred. I had, when I deployed out of Camp Roberts, the MWR program threw a huge party for our unit, the 1498, at the parade field right there in the middle, and it was at least, I would say, 1,000 people. And the community came out. The community came out, barbecued for us. There was music. There was all kinds of things, activities. It was a family day as well. It wasn't just the soldiers. It was their families as well. And it was amazing. And it's been years since we've been able to see something like that with, I would feel, the recession and other issues that have kind of come into play. And, you know, the war kind of declining as far as the op tempo. But there's still opportunities to do things like that on that site, specifically through MWR.
Eirin, what are some of the visions that you see that you want Camp Roberts to be able to hold out there at the events, at the fields, at the theaters? Like, what are some of the things that you want to do?
Well, Leo kind of hit it on the head. You know, my vision for MWR has always been kind of bridging the gap between the community and Camp Roberts. You know, I never served, but my spiel is this: I was born into the military, I married it, and I bred it. So, my perspective, say as a spouse, you know, I've been at the airport as my husband deployed and watching people thank him for his service. I think we have a unique opportunity here in our community to go a step further than just saying thank you. You know, through the sponsorships, through events where you really get to be hands-on with the soldiers, because I feel particularly, we've had these conversations, this is a very unique military community,
Yeah.
or it's different than most
Yes.
installations. Like Leo was talking about, you know, say a Fort Bragg or Fort Campbell, outside the installation, you have those shady car dealerships who want to charge you 35% interest because they know you have a paycheck coming in. I feel here we have more of a patriotic community, but we just, again, we haven't bridged that gap. You know, Leo's very accessible. Most of the soldiers are very accessible. We just don't have that historic knowledge of the military, or really the current knowledge of what military life looks like. And I think the MWR program could really assist in that knowledge. And I mean, from a recruiting perspective as well, you have kids coming, you know, out of high school and are interested in joining the military. Why not dip your feet in it a little bit, you know, through some, even if it's an event experience at Camp Roberts. And
so, again, the MWR program, morale, welfare, recreation. And so these are all geared towards the soldiers. So, and these are 100% funded on what you bring in, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't like grants. This isn't no money. This money is 100% on these different events that you guys do.
Yeah, we basically are a small not-for-profit organization on the installation.
And so what are some of the things, like the needs of the soldiers, that, you know, people don't know about? I mean, because there's a lot of things that, you know, we don't know, you know, and we just talked about, you know, this simple thing is like Christmas trees, you know, what are some of the needs that us as outsiders looking in don't know that these guys need, and how can they help and contribute?
Well, from the MWR perspective, I mean, so we're under a major renovation at our rec center, which is our primary facility for the soldiers to come and decompress. So with that renovation, you know, there comes new furniture, new technology. I mean, soldiers love to game, soldiers love entertainment. So items like that would be extremely helpful. You know, some of our local bands and musicians coming out and entertaining them, you know, giving of their time to do an event like that. Food trucks who want to come out and help serve the soldiers in the evening. I mean, we have, again, a very unique situation at Camp Roberts where we don't have a dining facility, so the soldiers are pretty much on their own. And most people would say we are remote. We're not really. We're 10 minutes outside of Paso.
Right, you're not that far away.
Yeah, I mean, but anybody in a training status is not able to leave the installation. So we try to provide the comforts of home to them.
And if I could add to that, just because it's a recent topic at work, for example, laundry facilities. You know, the MWR program also manages the Camp Roberts RV Park, where we have a lot of soldiers that live here remotely from their families because they've been stationed here, but they live, out of state, so they don't want to move here because they can't afford to buy a home here or even rent a home here, depending on their rank. So they get an RV, drive it up there, stay there. That's ran by MWR. Right now, we don't currently have a laundry facility for those folks. We did, but that one is specific for training soldiers. So we can't necessarily mix the two. So right now, her and I have been working together to try to get a laundry facility specifically for MWR for those RV tenants. And, basically purchasing laundry machines and then the infrastructure that goes into that. That's where the money comes in that we have to raise or receive donations. So that right there is just a very practical thing that a soldier wants to wash their clothes, they can't. Right. And if they live on the RV side, they'd have to leave town and go into Paso, or I think San Miguel has a laundry facility.
How come they can't
share?
Yeah.
So there's 2 designated laundry facilities, and you have to think of the amount of soldiers that come in for training specifically. It's in the hundreds, if not thousands, when we're really busy. And you have to figure there's probably, I want to say, 18 to 20 machines in each one of those. That's still not enough for the training soldiers, but that's for the DoD to figure out. But as far as our MWR facilities and what those tenants use, and those tenants are soldiers, if they're not here on a training status, they're not supposed to be using that because that's for the training students or soldiers. This is for MWR folks, whether they're stationed at SACCOM and they just live at the RV park, or some of them are full-timers that work at Camp Roberts in that local area, and that's where they need to do laundry, but there's no laundry facility for them.
For me,
I know it's wild.
It's like they're still soldiers. They're still, they're just not training.
Right.
So it's like
because they live there.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm like going, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's like, why?
So rather than argue with, using it, not using it, mainly because a lot of the times, let's face it, you have some lower enlisted, sometimes some senior enlisted that like to destroy things and they make a mess. So we shut it down, you can't use it. Well, that one bad apple ruins it for the bunch, right? So sadly, that's why her and I have been working on trying to figure out a way to where we can have some kind of laundry facility specifically for MWR. And if it's a soldier that's not here on training, maybe they're here because they want to hang out at Camp Roberts and rent one of the facilities that's there for lodging or the RV park, then they have a facility they can do laundry in.
So can anybody rent the RV spots? So could I come out there for the weekend and hang out on base and rent an RV spot?
Technically, yes. However, I can tell you, and thank you for bringing up RV Park, because yes, it's next on our hit list of projects. Technically, yes, but our wait list is very long. Another project that we're looking to do is to upgrade our current park and maybe add additional spots. Again, that's going to take money. We've had some community interest in helping us kind of make it bigger and better, especially for the soldiers. It's kind of dismal. It's not like a typical KOA or the Vines or anything like that by any stretch. But our vision is to get it more like that.
But could it be?
Sure.
Are there other MWR camping facilities at other bases like that that are more of?
Yes, but let me tell you the difference. Again, as Leo said, so the majority of MWRs are federally funded programs. We have no federal affiliation whatsoever, so therefore we don't get the federal funds. If you go out to Vandenberg, it is a federally funded RV park. I believe they have like cabins and stuff too. Very nice facilities. Fort Hunter Liggett, theirs is a little primitive, but they're now in the midst of a renovation and upgrading their RV park, but they have the federal dollars that we don't.
Now, why does Camp Roberts not have the federal dollars?
Because we're not a federal program. You're going to have to kind of help me out here a little.
Gotcha.
Camp Roberts is so we've discussed before, Fort Hunter Liggett is an Army Reserve installation or base. Okay, so their MWR program is part of IMCOM, Installation Management Command, that is federally funded. We're a little bit different. I'm going to let you take
federal
the
land that's leased by the state, so
Right.
it's owned by rented by the state. So there is no federal funding for it because it's a state, because it's the National Guard.
Right.
It's the Army National Guard. Every state has a National Guard. They fall under the governor and that funding code, if you will. So that's why that money is more of, for her, it's donations. And whatever our state offers, which, let's be honest, is not a lot, if any.
I would say the effect.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
And
anything.
so it's troublesome when it comes down to raising funds. For example, the Buzz isn't just an event to, host an awesome run that's been going on for 25 years. And that's why it's so important. I'm passionate about it because I was a runner that ran marathons and races. I love a race. But it's also a way to bring in some funds, not just to cover our overhead, but also to raise money for the MWR program. So that's why a lot of those sponsorships that we receive, that's helpful to cover down on cost and also be able to make some kind of a profit to give back to the soldiers on site that do visit.
Which, since we're on that subject, I just want to thank those sponsors for coming on and being a part of it, because it was, again, one of those, just a text message. You reached out and said, hey, can we do this? I'm like, let me send out a text real quick. And these people, these businesses, I can't name them all, but I will when I pull this segment. But, they're just like, absolutely, sign us up. And it was like within 20 minutes that we had a bunch, which I was like, man, I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought, delete.
Yeah.
But they're just like, absolutely. So I really think that Camp Roberts has an unserved market that still can be tapped into, that wants to help, that may not know that you guys need the help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To where, there's so many things, and I think, here we as What's Up North County, can really help to shed the light on, again, how many times have I not been out there that, and we love to support the military. We love to support the law enforcement. And this is our protectors. These are why our freedom is our
Well, and
is the way it is.
this is a very hands-on opportunity. There are the larger national organizations and you're able to donate money to, but this is something where you can see a project in the beginning to the end, to the impact on the soldier or the veteran or the retiree. So again, the vision is that community engagement. We'd like to have community days. Come help us, come help us upgrade our RV park. Come help us install washers and dryers in our facility to make sure soldiers can have
even
clean
area
clothes.
beautification is
That too.
huge. I always say it feels 10 to 12 degrees hotter in San Miguel, Camp Roberts than it does in Paso. And it seems desolate. It seems dry. There's not a lot of vegetation that's green anymore up there. And I feel that's largely in part to the op tempo kind of decreasing as far as the amount of soldiers that were being mobilized out of there. And the MWR program eventually becoming managed by the soldiers that are on post full time. Eventually, once Ms. Quick came on, it's been coming up, and it's a lengthy process.
It is.
But we had a lot more community involvement because the war had just kicked off. And like I mentioned, the big event that they threw, the community threw that event for our unit. They even threw a parade for us, downtown square, before all the restaurants, before all the tasting rooms. It looked very different in 2003. And so the community was much more impacted by it because it was currently a thing. It was in the news. It was happening every day. We were deploying every day. And now that op tempo has kind of decreased, I feel like the community's kind of forgotten that we're there, that we're still there, that there's still full-time staff there, that there's still units that come through that train there, that still need support from the community, whether that's a monetary donation, whether that's in-kind services, whether that's furniture, plants. I mean, there's all kinds of things that this community has that they could benefit from giving to the camp, which will go back to the soldiers.
So what are some of some of the things that like a civilian coming in can do? Like you said that you have the camping, which you don't have any spots, but you have gyms, you have you don't have restaurants.
We don't.
But is there
food trucks.
Is there things? Is there like can people come in and take like tours? Is there like a tour?
There are
options.
Yeah, there are two. It's a museum, but there's two separate sites on the installation, filled with rich history. As you probably already know, we mobbed. I want to say it was 40,000 soldiers out of Camp Roberts back in 1940s for World War II, And a lot of that facility, all the facilities there are from that time period and just been renovated over the years.
Right.
In the best possible way that they can with the funding that they have. But having, all those soldiers coming through, I forgot your question.
Well,
Talking about like you're talking events and all. So yes, if let's say you had a small family gathering and you needed a space, 50 people, our bar would be a great place to host that. Once Phoenix is completely renovated, refurnished, it could be rented out again for retirement parties, org days. We have a small theater in there, birthday parties. So there's opportunities like that. Use of the gym, sure. Yeah. It could easily, if somebody wanted to come in and work out, for sure, they could come in and work out.
Retreats even. For example, the YMCA is coming out. They've come out
That's
every
correct.
year. And they bring it, last year it was 2,000, almost 2,500 kids. They come out and they do their retreat for about 5 to 7 days.
Right.
And they obviously pay for that service, but we put them up in barracks. There is a dining facility for their use. They cater it. They provide the food for their own people. But they have this huge training compound. You probably know CAL FIRE is a current tenant of Camp Roberts. They have buildings that are theirs that they pay the base for that use. So they have a home. And then Operation Rattlesnake or Task Force Rattlesnake falls under CAL FIRE, who are
Rattlesnake,
national.
boy, you guys got a lot of those out there.
We do have a lot of those. But yes, those are Army National Guard soldiers that are working in the capacity of a CAL FIRE employee, but under National Guard orders. So it's a benefit to them too. But there are lots of opportunities like that. We're trying to get the word out and trying to showcase that it's more than just a desolate location
Yes.
past San Miguel.
Yes, there is life at Camp
Yeah,
Roberts, is
yeah.
what he's saying. In the civilian capacity, we have, as I said, we have the space to host large events. I was in talks years ago with Brandon Steyer when he did the
Taco Festival.
No, not Taco Fest, because I would never take that away. Estrella is such a great location for sure. When he did the vehicle,
The
Car show.
the car show, we could easily host a car
Yeah.
show. Easily.
So that's a great segue into how can people do what they're doing now out there. I mean, you're in a historical property.
100%.
Camp Roberts been around since what?
1941.
Yeah.
1941, the beginning of World War II, right? And then you guys, during the Desert Storm, during these wars of the
The early
Iraq and all that.
2000s.
You guys have the training facilities. There's often times when military presence will be built up out there for conflicts, overseas. So there's lots of different things that are happening that could happen that we could do. Like people are doing stuff here, wine festivals, and I mean, what a draw would that be?
It would.
Hugely.
I mean, has anything ever been done like that out there? Like, who's MWR? Is it just you two?
No.
It's her.
It's
Just
me.
you? Just
I
you?
do, no, I do have a great team underneath me.
So,
Yes.
I mean, when you say a team, I mean,
We have a team of 4.
okay. So you're
Small team.
yeah, okay. So it sounds like it's under. I mean, you need more hands.
Yes.
So definitely need more hands, and they're all civilians. Or are they all part of like what you guys are? You guys are.
So
Not
Leo is a federal civilian. He works for another directorate. He's
Okay.
just been kind enough to.
Well, I have a
assist.
passion for MWR. I like events. I've coordinated plenty of events in my life, and I enjoy that piece of it. And also, I experienced what MWR did for me being deployed overseas, here in Camp Roberts, down in San Diego, anywhere in the country where I've taken advantage of the MWR department. So I feel like Eirin needed some help, and she asked me for some help. Not that you weren't doing a great job. It's just like I can see like being understaffed and
Yeah.
knowing the struggles and knowing that decline of community awareness of our presence there. I just wanted to see how I could help. And I'm a post commander for our VFW here in town, and as a nonprofit, I could help sponsor the Buzz, for example. So we sponsored the Buzz Marathon because that's a way that we as an organization here in town can give back and also bring some awareness to the MWR program in the community. So I think bridging that gap between the community and Camp Roberts and letting them know, like, there's all kinds of ways you could help, even volunteering your time.
Correct.
You know, and that could be for the Buzz Marathon or another event, or coming up in
Or beautification.
you know, planting trees, helping out with the beautification piece specifically, especially right now that her facility is being remodeled and redone.
So, I mean, you're also part of the school board,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you can tie in a lot of like what's happening in just past Robles into like the Camp Roberts,
Right.
and try to help, push some of these events or some of these different organizations
Right.
from not necessarily taking away from here, putting it there, but
One example that I've tried is, so I worked at Almond Acres before, and then what we did was we connected with the museum at Camp Roberts. And so the third graders would go every year to Camp Roberts on a field trip to go see the museum and learn some history and be connected to the camp that they might not have even known about it before. My push for this school year is to try to encourage our Paso district to send the littles up there also to take advantage of this museum that's just 15 minutes away from their school site. Just to also show the youth that there is something here bigger than you, and it was here, and it was massive and, historical, and have more of an appreciation for what's north of them.
do they do that now?
I know Almond Acres still does it. Almond Acres still comes out. I have not seen the Paso School District come out there yet, but that's my...
Templeton, Tascadero.
I have not seen
We did,
Templeton or Tascadero.
I think the only school that we saw this year was St. Rose brought their 5th grade.
Almond Acres came out too, though.
Yeah, that too.
So is there a historian out there that
Yes.
somebody could do a full,
Gary McMasters.
Yes,
okay.
The docent there, and he does a wonderful job.
he does.
Along with Dirk Hale.
And they're both
And
heavily
they're,
involved in
and
the
they're both
community.
and they're both volunteers. And there's another gentleman, he's a retired first sergeant. They've all been there for many, many years. Before I retired, they were there. They were there when I was still in. And
Really?
they're all volunteers. And it's open Thursdays and Saturdays every week.
So would that be an MWR thing to organize something like that, Eirin?
That would be more a museum thing, but if we broaden the scope of the event, it could be a tie-in. Like with Buzz, the museum's always open because they know the traffic's going to be there. I mean, and we historically hosted on a Saturday, which is their open hours anyways. But we can always tie into the museum to an event, like have a Camp Roberts Day. I know my first year at Camp Roberts, we attempted to do a 4th of July event, but we kind of got shut down by some of the security issues that were happening around the nation. And we tied in the museum along with our vendors, and we made it a big event with the DJ, food trucks, and all kinds of stuff. So it's an easy tie-in for sure.
Now that brings up another question as far as like vetting when people come in that's not, military personnel. What is that? I mean, just...
How do you get in?
Yeah.
So as of June 1st, it is going to be a requirement to have a real ID.
A real ID.
To get onto the installation.
Not a passport?
Passport as well.
Or a passport,
A passport
okay.
will work as well. Basically, the same rules apply to an airport, right?
Right.
So an passport or a real ID. That's going to bring some struggles, obviously, with people wanting to show up, because before it was just literally a license and proof of registration for your vehicle insurance. So that's going to hinder us from having people that want to just show up who have just their license and registration, proof of insurance. Now we need real IDs. So I'm not sure if the garrison commander would ever make an exception to policy for an event, but I feel like we're going to have to push for the real IDs to kind of be the only way that they could come in.
Well, I think everybody's going to be pushing for that anyways,
Right.
because
Right.
it's going to be needed for almost everything that
Right.
you do. So, so Eirin, what are some of the things like you guys have coming up that we should let the public know about?
Event-wise, obviously we'll be advertising Buzz starting in September, and that will be February of 26. Right now, there are sponsors or organizations that want to come out and assist us in our beautification efforts, or if they want to donate furniture or funds. Wash machines.
Right.
And eventually, when we get to the RV park project, which will be here in the next couple months, again, services in kind, helping us to make each spot a little bit better to live in for the soldiers and retirees and veterans who are out there. So that's primarily where we need support, washing machines.
Well, I know you were redoing some of the facilities out there, trying to do the awnings. At one point, you were talking about like the mess, not the mess hall, but the
Defect, chow hall.
yeah, like the pool like
the rec center,
the rec center, you know, and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so, have those all been fulfilled?
No. So Phoenix is what we're working on right now. The renovation is about 90% complete. We are ready though to start furnishing. You know, as I said, our wish list would be like gaming chairs, theater chairs, arcade games,
Couches, regular chairs.
Yep, lounging.
How many soldiers do you guys have at the base that would potentially utilize these facilities?
Well, I mean, it depends. If you're
So
talking about a training season, it could easily be a couple of hundred.
Okay.
I think we're looking at the thousands so the summer season is obviously
Right.
the biggest time of year when we have a high up tempo, because that's when most of the Army National Guard sends their units to come train here, because that's when it works out for families as far as schooling and jobs. So they come out, they do their 2-week training, and it's in intervals or breaks. So sometimes there could be a couple hundred, sometimes there's about 1,000 or 2,000, depending on what the year is and what the programs look like that year. There could be a lot more than we've had 10,000 in the past, you know, at one given point. And it's not just from California. It's Army National Guard, it's Army Reserve, it's active Army, it's active Marine Corps. We have the British that come out. We have UAVs that come out and they do trainings out there as well. There's all kinds of things happening on that site. So it could be very busy. So a lot of those folks, to include the Brits, or, you know, we have...
Even law enforcement,
yes,
FBI.
we have law enforcement come out and do training. So those spaces are there for them as well, because they're on the installation anyway. So the movie theater that they have built, you know, the spaces that she's created to try to make some kind of a home away from home, if you will, it's important. And a lot of times guys don't want to stay in the barracks and sit on their bunk and just wait till the end of their 2-week training. They want to go somewhere. If they can't leave the installation, where can they go? They can go to the Phoenix Club.
Awesome. So Eirin, how does somebody reach out? How does somebody get more information? How can somebody become more involved? Where would they go for that kind of stuff?
They can either email us at camprobertsmwr@gmail.com. They can call. It's 805-238-8379. Or they can reach me via our Facebook page, the Camp Roberts MWR program on Facebook.
So you have a Facebook page.
We do.
And you're constantly updating needs and...
We haven't really put needs out there in a while.
Because you guys are 4 people.
Right.
Right.
4 people.
Yeah. So you need more hands.
Yes.
You need more boots on the ground.
Yes, we need more. We need backup. You know,
Yeah.
as I said, volunteers would be great. And
Well, I promise you this. I will go out there. Okay? I will. I promise. And I know I've been saying
just
this.
say in this decade.
In the next 30 days.
You really should.
not
in the
that
next
far.
30 days.
It really isn't. I know most people are like, it's so far. I live
It's
up
not
at the
far.
lake.
No,
We'll make it work through WWII. If you come out, we'll take
Right.
care of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I pass there often,
Yes.
and I always
You've
tell
said
Eirin,
this.
I say, hey, I'm gonna
Let's swing
stop.
by.
I'm gonna
Right.
stop by, but I'm always like, you know, an hour late to where I needed to be, and so I'm like, ugh, you know.
Yeah.
I think you'd really enjoy it to be able to see the things that we're saying.
Sure, 100%.
You know, we could give them the soldier experience.
We'll give them a tour.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
Well, like I said, I think there's a big draw that is unknown. It's an unknown draw, you know, and with having the histories from the 1940s, we're coming up on 100 years, you know, give or take. But, you know, we're coming up on a 100-year, you know, base that's iconic, that's, you know, has housed and served, you know, many, you know, veterans and soldiers and, you know, celebrities, you know, Bob Hope and Lucille Ball and all that stuff. You know, there's just a lot of history there.
There is.
And people want experiences. People are coming here for experiences. They come here for wine tours. Okay, why couldn't, you know, Camp Roberts be a part of that experience when they come to the Central Coast? So
Absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, anything that you guys ever need as far as like helping to get words out, whatever, like I said, please, lean on us, because I love talking about this. We didn't even tap into, your service, which I wanted to do that, but, we'll save that one for another time.
Sure.
But like I said, there's just so much intriguing information about our U.S. military and our soldiers and the needs that they need. So,
Right.
but thanks for coming on. I appreciate
having
everything
us.
you do for them. It's you're the angel among them, trying to help and give them what they need and what they're not getting from their normal wages and whatnot. And same thing with you, Leo, man.
Thanks, man.
Again, thanks for your service. Appreciate, what you've done for us and for our freedom and what you continue to do out there. And like I said, let us know. Because like I said, I'm going to go out there, I promise.
Thank you.
I promise.
Greatly appreciated.
I promise. We'll go out there and do some sort of, filming of something.
That'd be cool.
So
Yeah,
Very much so.
definitely. do that.
awesome. Right on, guys. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank
and
you.
look forward to the next one when we have you guys on here.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. Hey, make sure if you guys want to check out this MWR program out there at Camp Roberts, it is our local jewel that you guys don't want to miss. They definitely need some help for the soldiers, so do what you can. Go to their Facebook page or give them a call, give them an email, reach out to us. We'll put you in touch. But let's get out there and help those soldiers and those soldiers that help to protect our freedom. But as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalera Wine Travelers Hideaway, Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, MGP Coatings, North County Junk Removal, The Trailer Barn, Story Termite and Pest Control, Borhone Auto Center, Kennedy Club Fitness, Airflow Filter Services, and Premier Ag. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Are you tired of looking at that worn-out concrete garage floor, patio, or porch? Look no further than MGP Coatings, where customer service reigns supreme. Our team goes above and beyond to ensure your satisfaction every step of the way. Before we even start coating, we meticulously repair your concrete, ensuring a flawless finish that lasts. And here's the best part. Our Pentec coatings are 4 times stronger than epoxy, so they won't chip or peel, making maintenance a breeze. Plus, they come with a limited lifetime warranty. Call us today at 805-952-5301 or check out our Facebook and Instagram and experience the MGP coating difference. Don't wait. Transform your garage, patio, porch, or driveway and become a part of the MGP coating family.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Hi, this is Omid
and Deanna
at North County Junk Removal. We are a business known for helping our neighbors and our community.
Let us help you save money and get rid of any unwanted items.
And rest assured that our professional team adheres to global standards of safety and recycling. We are fully licensed and insured for your peace of mind.
We are locally owned and operated, and we look forward to helping you with all your junk removal needs.
Please call us at 805-769-6966.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We are all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.